We've got a special guest today. You're going to, Girish, you're going to introduce him?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think I would invite two presidents to be over here with me on the stage. Maureen, you should be here with me, and Mario, you too. It's a very short session. Bienvenue tout le monde pour la session spéciale. Je m'excuse. It's in English right now. Okay. Je préparais les deux en anglais et en français, les diapos, mais quand même, si à cause que tout le monde est beaucoup plus à l'aise avec en anglais. So instead of speaking in my franglais, I will just speak in English and let the translators do the job. All right. So this is a very special announcement. It's a 5-minute session. We understand that you are all waiting for lunch, but it is one of the mandates of this organization to support NET research. And I think this is a very special initiative we want to announce in front of the front of all of you. So welcome all the invitees and to my special guest, Dr. Chevret, who is right here. So this, can I have the next slide, please? The question that we asked is, and this is on behalf of all the board of directors. My name is Girish Shah. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that before. I wear many hats, and one of the hats I wear is a member of board of director. Maureen is the president, and Jim right there is the vice president. And there are other members who have been introduced to you. So one of the mandates of this organization was to support the NET research. And the question we asked is, why should we support NET research? It's very simple. Actually, the research in NET, and this is what has happened in every other field of cancer, so why not in NET? It will lead to better diagnosis, it will lead to improved therapy, and it will lead to molecular characterization of the disease. So, in a sense, if I put it in simple word, you need to know the beast if you want to slay it. We need to understand this disease much better, and all kinds of clinical and fundamental research will lead to this understanding. So how did we go around doing it? May I have the next slide, please? So Maureen, in her very enthusiastic way, created a target that before end of this year, we will collect $60,000. Why this magical figure of $60,000? I'll come to that in a few minutes. Why $60,000 had to be collected before end of the year? And Maureen and her team went about very zealously doing this very hard work, and the money has been collected. This is why we are here to make this special announcement. How did they collect the money? I think it's very simple. People who volunteered their time, their effort, their money. There were donors who gave money. There were several physical activities which were done, sponsored bicycle, walks, all over Canada they were done. As a result, quite a significant amount of money was collected, and there were several professionals who gave their pro bono services. So in this respect, less expenses, more collection, and today we are sitting here saying that CNETS Canada has already collected $60,000. The next question to ask is, how do you give this money to research? I mean, is there a mechanism to do it? We as CNETS Canada do not have an established mechanism. So we went looking around after a due discussion and looking at various options. Next slide will tell us why we decided to go through the Cancer Research Society. And this is a society that, first and foremost, what we really like and who doesn't like, your $60,000 will become $120,000. For dollar to dollar, CRS will match our funding. So they will give a research grant worth $120,000. Second thing that we really appreciated was that CRS has more than 50 years of experience to distribute research support, the grants, for on a very broad basis. They have highly streamlined approach to inviting grant applications from everybody all over Canada, whether they are clinicians or fundamental researchers, whether they work in hospitals or research center, universities, doesn't matter where they work. If you got a good stuff, if you got a good idea, bring it to them, and they would be able to evaluate it and support it if it is considered worthwhile. And the last thing CRS told us is that if we have $60,000, for sure in 2010 competition, they will announce one grant in our name. That is a joint grant that will be supported in the name of CRS and CNETS Canada. We thought that that is the best way in which we can distribute the money, that hard-earned money that we have got from the society, and give it to the most deserving research project. And so with this, I invite President of the CRS, next slide please, Dr. Mario Chevret. Mario also wears many, many hats. This is one hat he's representing today, President. He is, of course, a professor in McGill University and a renowned researcher. He himself he knows most of the people who are on the stage this morning. Mario, it's yours.
Thanks, George. Well, to be honest, the first time I met Maureen, and she mentioned to me after talking with Girish that they will raise $60,000 in 1 year, starting from scratch, I thought that we'll have at least 2 or 3 years before we have to put as the CRS money the $60,000. That obviously did not happen, and we are quite delighted to be able to tell you today that, if I can have the next slide, is that mine, the next slide?
They have your presentation.
Okay, can you put the next one? We are quite delighted to be able to form this collaboration between CNETS and the Cancer Research Society. As Girish was mentioning, the CRS has been giving money for research for the last 60 and more years, and we are indeed delighted to put also $60,000 to be able to fund one grant this year, at least one grant this year, and we hope that we'll continue to partner together to generate more interest in carcinoid tumors. As you know, and I think we have seen that in a few presentations today, where we're talking about TKI or tyrosine kinase inhibitor as well as mTOR inhibitors. Those inhibitors are coming because in other tumors as well as carcinoid tumors, we start to understand what are the elements that make the tumor aggressive, what are the elements that we can target to eradicate that tumor. And that is possible only through research. And that's why I'm so happy to say that starting, in fact, this year, thanks to your funding effort, next slide, please, we have already modified our, in fact, application form to include, as you can see there, to include a box there where people will be able to tell us that indeed the application that they submit to the CRS will be, and we hope to have many of those, well, they won't be red, they will be black, I guess, X's in that box, so we will be able to analyze and to evaluate many of those applications that will be targeted to carcinoid tumors. So we hope to be able to, well, I say we hope to be able to give one grant this year because obviously, as all other grants that will come to the CRS, those will be evaluated by a peer review system to ensure that the research, in fact, that will be done with the money you raise and the money we put in will be, in fact, scientifically sound. So that's about all I had to say in my 2 minutes that Girish gave me. So we will definitely have evaluation of those grants, and we hope to get many of them. Last thing I would mention is that by doing such an initiative, I strongly believe that not only we'll be able to fund one grant this year, but we'll also raise the interest for carcinoid tumors in the scientific community in Canada. Thank you very much.